going on, everybody? It's Overjoyed. You're coming out with a brand new video, and tonight's actually pretty cool because it looks like we've got more Speedroid support, or at least new Speedroid support, coming out of Supreme Darkness alongside with the new, what is it, like, it's Evil Hero support, I think it was. And this is actually really cool because I actually got to play a lot of Speedroid for my Sleeper Sunday on the deck, and it was really fun. It performed a lot better than I thought it would. It had a lot of different toolbox packages that you could actually utilize to help break boards, make boards. It was super cool, and I actually know a lot of what I would like to see for the deck, preferably a new endboard payoff now that Baron's gone, and then also some more non-tuner extenders was definitely the big thing I remember, because there was so many situations where I ended up just having way too many tuners on board. But I think we have 4 new cards here, 2 new main deck monsters, a new Synchro, no, 2 new Synchros actually, so it's all monsters. So that could be pretty cool depending on what we get. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with Speedroid CLAL, I think it is. Looks like a nutcracker. It's a wind machine pendulum, scale 8, I almost said level 8. It's a level 2 with 200 attack and 1800 defense, and its pendulum effect says you can only use it once per turn. You can banish a Speedroid card from your graveyard to place a Speedroid pendulum from your deck in your pendulum zone. Also, you cannot special for the rest of the turn except wind monsters. And the monster effect says you can only use each effect once per turn. If it's destroyed on field by battle or card effect, you can special a Speedroid CLAL from your hand deck or graveyard, and if you do, it is treated as a tuner. And if your Clearwing monster battles while this card is face up in your extra deck, during damage calculation, you can banish it, and if you do, that monster gains 700 attack. So I'm actually not sure how I feel about this. To my memory, none of the Speedroid effects in the scale are necessarily very good. I can go through real quick, see if anything were to like destroy it on field, because yeah, no, I'm not seeing anything really. But like the thing I could assume happening if oh no, this one's also okay, so that probably is what you place. But the idea I'm assuming is to place the new one. Maybe the new one pops this while it's in the small and trap zone as a pendulum, and then you can special it back, or special a new one from your hand deck or grave and treat it as a tuner. So that you can do like more synchro plays, of course, and then the second effect, I honestly don't really care, but I'm assuming specifically that these effects are like for the other new card, which we'll get right into to see that. It is Speedroid Wing Synchron. That's funny. So it's a Speedroid, it's like kind of a Clearwing, though it's not actually part of the archetype, and it's a Synchron card. It's a wind machine pendulum level 5 tuner, scale 4, 1500 attack, 1000 defense. The pendulum effect says once per turn you can destroy both this card and level 2 wind pendulum monster card in your pendulum zone. Okay, and if you do, special a Clearwing Synchro Dragon from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. Also, for the rest of this turn, cards in your pendulum zone cannot be destroyed by card effects, and you're locked into wind monsters. Its monster effect says if it's added to the extra deck face up, and there are 2 or more different monster types among the wind synchros you control, you can send 1 Speedroid spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, so this one actually makes a lot of sense, of course, with the CLAL. Helps you get the other body on board from the CLAL. It gets you a free Clearwing from your deck. Prevents your stuff from being destroyed like later, which I don't really think matters too much, to be fair. But this dumping Duplicate is actually really cool because Duplicate ends up being a free monster and reduces the levels of your tuner. So I'm assuming maybe the idea is you go, if it has nothing to do with like the new stuff, of course, because I know they're getting 2 new synchro monsters, but you can like use this, destroy the CLAL, summon the CLAL, use this to dump Duplicate. Duplicate ends up lowering the level of the CLAL, I believe. You control level 2 or higher Speedroid, you control reduce level by 1, yeah. And then you special the Duplicate as a level 1 non-tuner, and so now you can go like CLAL in the Clearwing that you summoned, and you can go into like a Crystal Wing, so have the Duplicate on board, stuff like that. Though you do need another Synchro, I believe, 2 or more different monster types among the Wing Synchros you control, yeah. So you do have to have another Wind Synchro already on board, but I mean, this deck sneezes and gets out a Synchro monster, almost said a Snickers monster. So yeah, not really a huge deal there. But while it is very specific to work with the CLAL, it is a pretty cool engine. So here's their new boss monster, it looks like, is Crystal Clearwing Over Synchro Dragon. Yeah, it definitely looks over leveled. It is a level 12, 3500 attack, and 3000 defense Wind Dragon Synchro that requires 2 or more tuners or 1 tuner Synchro plus Clearwing. It must be Synchro summoned. Once per turn, when another card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation and destroy that card. And if it was a monster, this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack until the end of the turn. And if this face-up Synchro Summon card leaves the field by your opponent, you can special a Clearwing monster from your extra deck. Okay, so this card definitely seems kind of fucking insane. And from the looks of it, that new Synchro is a level 5, probably a tuner, so you can use it with the Clearwing that you immediately get off of the new pendulums, or that you can make like manually. This seems really, really good. So the summoning requirement is actually fairly easy if you just go Clearwing plus the new one, I'm assuming. Also, this being an Omni Negate, really, really good, of course. Basically replaces the need for Baron in the deck now that it's banned. At least over in the TCG. I don't actually know if it's banned in the OCG, let me know. But if it dies also, you can tag out into one of your many other Clearwing Negate monsters. I mean, well, Clearwing Rider is mostly like a pop, right? But Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon is another negate. Then you have the, of course, original Clearwing Synchro Dragon. You have Clearwing Fast Dragon, which you actually don't make too often in the deck, so this is actually a really good way to access the card, because this is just a free imperm plus turn to 0 for any extra deck monster. Like, this is actually a really, really good boss monster. Really helps a lot with the deck needing more end board pieces. Okay, so they're actually getting a new trap as well, so it's actually 5 cards. I thought it was just all monsters. But we have High Speedroid Glider 2. If High Speedroid Glider was so cool, why wasn't there a High Speedroid Glider 2? It is a Wind Machine Synchro Tuner, of course. Level 5, 600 attack, 2400 defense. It requires a Wind Machine Tuner and one or more non-tuners. You can only use the first and second effect of its name once per turn. If it's Synchro summoned, you can target one non-tuner level 7 or lower Wind Synchro in your grave, special summon it. Jesus Christ. And if your opponent specials a monster and you control a Clearwing, you can banish this card from your graveyard to increase the levels of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls by 5. Hey, what are you doing when you use that second effect on your Castra opponent and they hard make Zeus on you? Okay, no, but jokes aside, this actually seems like another really, really good card. I mean, it's basically, not like a Wolf Bark, I guess you could call it. I don't know, something like that. Wolf Bark, Debris Dragon, you know, there's a bunch of cards that do this. But it immediately summons a Clearwing back from your graveyard, so you can turn it and the Clearwing into the new guy, the new Clearwing Overdragon. And it has a good graveyard effect as a disruption as well. You already have a Clearwing when you make the Over Synchro Dragon, so this is another disruption on top of your Omni, and a lot of decks are gonna get fucked over by shit getting messed around by 5. It's a lot more, like, iffy when your stuff, like, reduces or increases levels by, like, 1, maybe even 2, like certain effects do, like, what is it, like Drytron Fafnir that does something like that. But this is genuinely kind of nuts to increase by 5, because a lot of decks that are focused on like Xyz or Synchro, they're not really going to be able to utilize that. Except for, again, like exactly level 7 decks being able to make Zeus, which is whatever. So this is really, really cool, and you can literally go with both of these scales, or actually just Clackernal and a thing engraved to banish off of it, you're kind of guaranteed to just get a free Crystal Wing, I think? On top of the Synchro Dragon here, the Over Synchro Dragon, and you have this in the graveyard, not to mention any other cards that might be in your hand, such as Terror Top, to help go into other disruptions. This seems really, really good, and there's still a trap card here that you're probably also going to want to dump off the new guy if you're not going for Duplicate. So this is Speedroid Clearwing Wander. It is a normal trap that says you can only use the first and second effect monster per turn. Target cards your opponent controls up to the number of different monster types among Wind Synchros you control and destroy them. And if your opponent specials a monster, you can banish this card from your grave, then target one Wind Synchro monster you control, banish it, then return it to the field. I get it, okay. So, did you know that this Clearwing Over Synchro Dragon is a soft once per turn? So, they're literally encouraging the SP Baron play by using this to banish your Clearwing Over Synchro Dragon, return it to the field, and have its negate live again. That is so funny. So that's another disruption if you dump this instead of the duplicate off the Speedroid Wing Synchron. So you're setting up, let's see, 1, 2, 3 disruptions, including whatever you make off of the Clackernal plus the Clearwing, which, again, there's probably level modulation you can end up doing, especially if you do have access to Duplicate as well, but again, there's like going to be a bunch of other cards in your hand, and oh my god, you can just straight up make Shen Shen. So, bare minimum, what I'm seeing off of opening just Clackernal, and like, obviously any way to put a Speedroid card in the grave, like Speedroid Wheel or something like that, you have a Shen Shen, a Crystal Clearwing Over Synchro Dragon, the Disruption of the Graveyard of the Glider, and the Wander in Grave, I believe. You probably have some way to time it properly, along with your your Speedroid Wing Synchron, or maybe you do have to open other stuff, I don't know, but just that bare minimum off of like maybe the CLAL Chrono plus like one card, like a Terratop or something to go into first. Like just having that off of such a simple combo is really, really good, considering that sometimes the deck would struggle to pump out more than like Crystal Wing plus like a Baron or something like that, right? So this is sick. So with that being said, what do I think about the Speedroid support? I think this is actually really, really solid. I mean, for one, until you use CLAL Chrono effect, your opponent can't really like ash the effect of the CLAL Chrono to place a Speedroid Wing Synchron, and then the ability to summon like the Clearwing directly from your extra deck. So that's really, really sick. Not to mention, the Clearwing over Synchro Dragon, the Crystal Clearwing, whatever you want to call it, is insanely bloated, really good floating. You can reset it off the Wander, which is also a disruption if you have it on field, by the way. It is not one effect per turn either. High Speedroid Glider is just insane. It's a Wolf Bark on top of being a disruption in the graveyard, and the Wolf Bark effect summons another negate, by the way, even if you don't use it as a Synchro material, if you make something else instead. Like, you can just use this to summon back a different Clearwing after making a separate, like a second Clearwing to use as Synchro fodder. Genuinely, this seems like insanely solid support, but Speedroid players, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments, because that's gonna do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure leave a like, as I'll put this video and the channel into the YouTube recommended. And if I was concerned with like it, like the rest of my card reviews, then perhaps consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because support the channel more than anything else, and it's absolutely free. Plus, we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year if we really, really push, though. Not sure I'm seeing that happening. If you want to support me more directly, though, and get some awesome TCG merchandise in the process, check out Tapio, cards and link down below. Use code Aurora5 for 5% off your purchase at checkout, and support me financially. Also, be sure to check out the Patron in the link down below in order to see what benefits you get from joining my $1 and $5 tiers. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.